They said, whatever the market will bear. And I said, well, you know, many places like Germany, you can get and make sure you make a profit that's 20 to 30%, even 40% more than your total investment. But once...
Right now, during the height of the crisis, everybody, 3 major economic relief packages were sent out. First of all, various states and cities have kicked out their own cash assistance program, help offset the high cost. Now, states receive funds from the Inflation Reduction Act. Several states have finally decided to step in, send extra cash to the people, and also send extra cash to people in need. Some of these states began distributing stimulus checks in 2022, but the millions of people have yet to receive the refunds for some various reason. It means that checks are still being sent out this month. The state of California, for instance, reports that most relief checks of up to $1,000 were paid out by the end of the year. However, about 5% will not be sent until Monday, and now the amount received is based on a combination of income, the number of people in your household, as long as you are still single earning less than $250,000 annually or a couple earning less than $500,000. In Colorado, it's a state residents who are going to get the extension for their stimulus check. Because now, beginning January 19th, older and the disabled Pennsylvanians can apply for rebates on property taxes and rent paid in 2022. It's important to note that the state encourages applicants who are to submit their Avalonic applications. The maximum rebate is $650, but a supplemental rebate for qualified homeowners may boost that amount to around $975. And for months, the outlook of the U.S. is still mostly a bleak one for the economy. A bleak outlook on the IRS, a bleak outlook on the economy. And so, with inflation hitting a 4-decade high, consumer spending weakening, interest rates surging, most economists just predict a recession again for next year of 2024, 2023, and even 2026. Now, yet in recent weeks, with inflation showing widespread signs of aging and a more positive view, it has gained traction. One reason for the optimism is evidence, everybody, that an acceleration in U.S. wages, which benefited workers so much, is also heightening during this time. Jerome Powell is now frequently pointing to the fast rising worker pay to explain why the Fed had to raise the rates again so aggressively, but the Fed rate hikes, if it's carried out enough, it can weaken the economy to a much worse problem for the United States, and making it more difficult to send out payments, and it's going to be a huge problem. First of all, the most positive sign is ongoing slowdown in inflation. So far, this has peaked from a 9.1% in June to a still high 7% in May. First of all, when the government issued this December inflation report on Thursday, economists predicted it would slow another step in the stimulus being sent. On a monthly basis, prices are still expected to have remained flat from November to December after an encouraging sign. So now the inflation slowdown just begins. It stems from a range of factors, including cheaper gas, unraveling supply chain snarls, and smaller profit margins among many retailers getting that stimulus cash. But what I want to know is this: the national average price of gas was already $3, far below the $5 peak in May. And now what this means that the average used car prices has also skyrocketed 37% in 2021. Having dropped for 5 straight months, they're now 3% cheaper than they were a year ago. Furniture prices have also dropped for 3 straight months. The slowdown in price increases, just the Fed's rate hike has also last year had some effect, though with inflation still well above the 2% target. Officials have made it clear that they expect to raise their key rate again by at least 3/4 of a point or more, even as a bank has jacked up its benchmark rate at the fastest pace in 4 decades. Economies are keeping up with this. Businesses are hiring. Things are looking good for some people, that is, but not for everybody because, that's the facts. Not everybody is going to get what they want.
President Joe Biden, Democrats deliver for the people. When President Biden took office, the unemployment rate was 6.6%. Now it's at 4%. Democrats deliver for the people. There are issues that remain for us to deal with, and Democrats are dealing with them decisively as it relates to inflation and some of our supply chain dynamics. That is why House Democrats passed the America Competes Act. That's going to invest in additional job creation, invest in...
A Natural Resources Committee has been meeting in recent weeks with Chuck Schumer to try to come to terms on a slimmed-down reconciliation bill. Manchin has been convening a bipartisan group to discuss a potential energy and climate bill. A Manchin spokesperson said the West Virginia Democrat continues to work with his bipartisan colleagues to find solutions that address our nation's climate and energy needs. The Council of Economic Advisors has actually told CNBC that the Build Back Better bill was smart economic policy during a discussion about inflation and whether a recession was inevitable. She said she was on board with the administration's original claims that inflation was only transitory and is going to last and won't last forever. President Biden told reporters that there was nothing inevitable about a recession, and the Council of Economic Advisors chair further added that Biden was focusing on lowering gas prices in the short term. Folks, we have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. If you have any questions about this, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Stimulus programs are going to be approved very soon, and will stimulus checks be automatically deposited? Well, the bad news is that inflation just keeps coming. At more than 9% year on year, it has not been high. It has not been this high since 1980. There have also never been so many inflation surprises, where the data have come in higher than economists have forecast. This in turn is taking a heavy toll on the economy and financial markets. Central banks are raising interest rates, crushing equities, and consumer confidence in many places is lower than ever. But with paychecks stretched, budgets strained, and interest rate on the rise, there is still government help available. Temporary assistance for needy families is a major public assistance program that's federally funded and run by the states. How much you receive depends on the state. In Oklahoma, the max amount for an adult and 2 children can receive through cash assistance program is around $300 a month. A family of 3 in Washington state, assuming they have no other income, will get about $650 a month. If you're unable to pay your rent or utilities and believe you're in danger of eviction, the U.S. Treasury's Emergency Rental Assistance Program may also help. The program began back in the early days of the crisis and is still operating in many states. And now New Jersey is opening a state rental assistance lottery for nearly 2 weeks in July for low-income elderly residents and people. And also, if you're struggling to pay your heating or cooling costs, there is another program that could help. The Department of Health and Human Services oversees the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, although each state decides whether a household is eligible for a cash grant. But anyone who is already enrolled in a program like SNAP has a chance of being automatically.
Elon Moy joins us now with more of the old kicking the can down the road, something they've become experts at doing, Elon.
Yeah, that's right, Scott. The House and Senate will be back in session next week, and that's when lawmakers will have to start thinking about, at least, the looming debt limit deadline. Democrats' message? Political brinksmanship could drive up costs for ordinary households. A recent analysis by the center-left think tank Third Way estimated that an actual default could result in the loss of 3 million jobs, a $20,000 drop in the average retirement savings, and a $130,000
eligible.